It began long ago, when darkness through its deceit captured the hearts of the sons and daughters of light. We looked for light, but we found only darkness. We searched for bright skies, but walked in gloom. We fumbled like the blind along the wall, feeling our way like people without eyes. We were destined to fall, even in the brightest days. We stumbled as if it were dark. Among the living, we were like the dead. We looked for justice, but it never came. We looked for rescue, but it was far from us. So he himself stepped in to save us with his strong arm and his justice to sustain him. He put on righteousness his armor, salvation his helmet. He clothed himself with a robe of vengeance and wrapped himself in a cloak of divine passion. He slipped out of his royal garments, left eternity to enter time, divinity to wrap himself in humanity. The sea of glass for the ocean of separation. He left peace and for the first time felt pain. Because the very hands that held the stars were now sentenced to wear my scars. It was love!
This is Derek Lambert, and I'm here with Felipe Diaz again. How you doing, Felipe?
Doing fine, thanks.
Awesome. We're going to shoot right into this, guys and girls. Felipe, can unregenerate people do good things? Because the question only comes up, they can't do good because they're totally depraved. Therefore, they can't do anything good. Can you touch on that, please?
Yeah. Before that, I'd like to say that it is God who objectively defines what is right and wrong, what is good and evil. This supposition cannot come from humans unless they know objectively the Bible, what the Bible says about this. And as for those who do not know what the Bible says, they also suppose it because they are suppressing this truth. So they must know something about what this is, but they negate it because of their truth suppression. In short, the answer is no. The wicked cannot do anything good in God's sight. And first of all, some people ask, well, wait a minute. There are non-believers that oppose injustice. And yes, I believe that. The question is not whether they oppose injustice. The question is whether what they are doing and their inclinations, are they good? Are they morally good? If we say that they are morally good, then God is actively looking down upon them and saying, you have done well. If that is correct, that person, if they accumulate enough good things, can contribute to their justification and even regeneration. But we know that this is not the case. We get, first of all, a little summary of Romans 3. Romans 3, especially starting at verse, I think, ending at verse 18, starting at around verse 9 or 10, tells us, first of all, gives us a blanket statement of humanity, what we are composed of, and what we do, even though we might not realize it. What we are doing is actively rebelling against God in absolutely everything we do, even if it's not explicit, even if we are, even if we're opposing abortion. If we are not right before God, that is wickedness in God's eyes, because we are trying to do something good, not believing God, automatically being self-righteous, even if the person does not believe that they're being self-righteous. That act in and of itself, when not connected to a righteous lifestyle that is brought upon by regeneration, is wicked. It is doing something apart from the lordship of Christ. In that sense, of course, we know that Christ is Lord of everything and everyone, whether they acknowledge him to be or not. But we're not doing so in a state of righteousness. Let's go to Proverbs 21:4. But first, let me put this in context. We'll start with Proverbs 21:1. And here it goes. NASB, that's my translation. The king's heart is like channels of water in the hand of the Lord. he turns it wherever he wishes. This right here is explicitly establishing the sovereignty of God over absolutely everything, including the hearts of people. Verse 2, every man's way is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the hearts. This is basically stating it's kind of like the whole idea in Judges, where every person does what is right in their own eyes. Basically, what we're seeing here is a subjective interpretation in the actions of people that tries to supersede God's objective interpretation of what they're actually doing. Verse 3, to do righteousness and justice is desired by the Lord more than sacrifice. What we're saying here is the person who is righteous and who does righteousness, being only by regeneration and justification, is desirable to the Lord. Their actions are desired by the Lord in the prescriptive sense, more than a sacrifice, such as a Mahatma Gandhi or a Buddha who is trying to establish their own self-righteousness, even if it appears as if they are not. Here's the verse 4. Haughty eyes and a proud heart. The lamp of the wicked is sin. In other translations, the plowing of the wicked is sin. It says here the lamp because what we're doing here is, first of all, the lamp was used obviously as a device whereby one can look at everything that is in the darkness. The lamp is a guiding piece of equipment. So what is guiding the wicked person is sin. Therefore, what they do is sinful. What we're looking at here is not at the individual act, but at the inclination that causes that individual act. Let's look at a verse after that. Verse 5, the plans of the diligent lead surely to advantage. It's talking about the righteous, the regenerate. But everyone who is hasty comes surely to poverty. This speaking about, of course, the unregenerate, about the intentions of the unregenerate. We're not. This can be taken as literal poverty and also spiritual poverty. But the context here, it doesn't seem like we're dealing with material poverty, although that might be the case. You can construe it that way. And 6, the acquisition of treasures by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor, the pursuit of death. So right now what we're seeing is an outflow, again, of the lying tongue, which is due to the actions of a lying heart. Number 7, the violence of the wicked will drag them away because they refuse to act with justice. Not only is this speaking about a violent act such as a murder, every act that is outside and opposed to the lordship of Christ is an act that is in violation to the prescriptive will of Christ, because they refuse to act with justice. A person who does not understand the source of justice, which is Jesus, the Prince of Peace, will never truly have the inclination of justice, but will have what's called a contradictory set of inclinations, which is to suppress the truth and unrighteousness, and to at the same time outwardly do what is just. This has to do with their humanity. Of course, they are made in the image of God, God's image bearers. But of course, they are suppressing the truth, so their status is the unrighteous. And the last one, number 8, the way of a guilty man is crooked. The guilty man is one who is unjustified, of course, unregenerate, is crooked. No matter what they do, it is crooked. But as for the pure, his conduct is upright. So we have the outflow of a thankful heart that has been regenerated. There are only 3 types of individuals who at one time can be on this earth. Number 1 is an unregenerate person who will stay unregenerate. That is called a reprobate person. There is an unregenerate person that will become elect in the future. And there is an elect person who will stay elect. And so it's very clear that if we take away our 21st century emotional presuppositions or subjective pre-commitments, we will see that the status of wicked is assigned to the reprobate, and the status of righteous is assigned to the elect. It's just that the question is when they're applied to Christ. And of course, those persons who are going to be elect in the future cannot do righteous things or just things or good things before God before they are justified. So the answer is a flat out, unequivocal no. The wicked cannot do what is morally good before God, even if it appears that they are doing so. And this is widely resisted even in Christian camps. So thanks very much, Derek.
Thank you, Felipe. Yeah, I've heard it said that like you put it in very technical terms, but people who are unrighteous, unregenerate, unsaved are doing righteous acts in the very depths of their heart as a selfish motive. There's a selfishness about it. Whether or not it's outwardly not selfish or whatnot, it is, like you said, it's a contradictory in terms. It's an unselfish, selfish motive. So, yeah, Felipe, we love you on here, man. We got to have more of these. We've got to hit topics. We should go through Tulip sometime here and everything like that. But God bless you, brother. And any last words?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that needs to be made clear is that I'm not saying that a person's intentions are false. What I'm saying is because they have rejected Christ in their minds, then their action becomes automatically unrighteous. So we're not charging people with being just a bunch of deceivers. That's really the last words I have to have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.